Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. If you guys are new here, welcome, and if you guys have already been subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for subscribing. Today we're going to discuss some new releases out in the market, and specifically we're going to talk about the eyeshadow palettes and we're going to see if it interests us or not. It's going to be like a will I buy it series or like judging eyeshadow palettes. I mean, it's all in a fun way, so don't take it too seriously, but let's dive right into the video and see which are like the recent releases out in the market and whether it's interesting me or not. So I'm going to check out the Sephora's website and see what are the newest releases. Let me scoot a little bit here. I'll pop a picture on the screen also so that you guys can see the palette. The first palette that I see is from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is from their Novena collection. So Anastasia also has like the Novena under her, and she has come out with a Pro Pigment palette, which is more on like that purpley pinky color story, and you guys know I love my purpley pinky tones, but the palette is $60, so that's up high there, I would say. But if I can get it on a sale price, I am very intrigued. The color story really speaks to me, and the tones of the purples and the pinks, it's really good. It has a good combination of neutrals, pinks and purples, so that is very exciting, I would say, for Anastasia after a long time. So I would be interested in it. The only thing that is keeping me a little away from it is the price factor, but it is a huge palette too. So it has 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5, so it has 25 shades in the palette. $60 for a 25, you know. I'm gonna hold off for a little while and see how I feel about it like after a month or so. So yeah, so let's move on to the next one. The next one is from Artist Couture, and this is the Supreme Bronze collection. I recently did dupe this palette using their own Supreme Nudes palette as well as the Jaclyn Hill palette. So I personally feel if you do not have like a huge collection, and if you're looking for a warm and a cool tone palette all combined together, you would absolutely love it. Because I really like their Supreme Nudes, the original palette, and the quality is absolutely amazing. So it's a great release for them, I would say. But I think there are shades that are very close to the Supreme Nudes palette, so they could have done like something really fun and interesting in the color story. This palette really doesn't like speak to me that much in the sense of color story, I would say. Very excited for them, but I would stay away from that for now, for sure, because I do have a lot of neutral tones, warm tone palettes in my collection. Yeah, stay away, Smithy, save some money. Okay, the next palette that I see is from KVD Beauty, and this is called the Planet Fanatic fully recyclable eyeshadow palette, and this retails for $45. Now when I saw this palette, I mean, my reaction was exactly like that. I was like, okay. I mean, I think the way they shoot their product, like for the promo photos, it's not that exciting. It doesn't like excite me at all. I mean, it just feels very bland, very pale to me. Nothing out of the box color story. So yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, I won't be picking this up for sure. The next palette that I see is from Mel Cosmetics, and it is their brunette palette. This is also another palette that I have already duped on my channel. So if you guys have not watched that already, I will link it in the iCards above for you guys to check it out. It's another neutral tone eyeshadow palette leaning towards a little more warm. I personally do not own any Melt eyeshadow palette, so I cannot talk about the quality of the eyeshadow palettes. I mean, the first 4 shadows in that palette seems very light, and I don't want to pay like $48, or how much is it? Yeah, $48 for the other 4 shades, you know. So yeah, I am gonna stay away from that. The next new release is from Patrick Ta, and this is their Major Dimension eyeshadow palette. Now this eyeshadow palette, I took like a double turn, triple turn, 4 times turn, because it's that beautiful. It is really beautiful. Although this is a warm tone palette, the shadows, the shimmer, I mean, I'm drooling. I mean, that's how eyeshadow palettes like capture my attention. You can see the excitement as soon as I speak about this palette. I mean, I really feel that this is a new, especially for Patrick Ta Beauty. He is known for his like bronzy tone, neutral tones, those sultry looks, and he has also included like those cream shadows on in the palette also. So that sets it apart with his topper, and all the videos that I've seen about this palette are only raving about the palette. So even though this palette is neutral warm, I feel I'll be very happy if I have it. Now again, the price point is $68. So yeah, it's high. It's difficult for me to digest to give another neutral tone palette a chance for $68. But I'm very sure if I get it in my collection, I'll be super, super over the moon excited. I am pretty sure about that, because I don't doubt his quality of the eyeshadows at all. I have loved the blushes that Patrick has come out with. I have loved the formula. So I really do not doubt at all on his formula. It's just the price point for me. It's a little high up there. The next thing that I see is from Urban Decay. It's their Prince collection. So they came out with like 2 palettes. It's called Let's Go Crazy eyeshadow palette and You Got the Look eyeshadow palette. Again, I personally am not a big Prince fan. Saying that, if I'm only looking the eyeshadow palette and the colors and the shades that are included in the palette, it's just meh to me. I mean, it doesn't excite me at all. So whenever you see me duping a palette, it's only the palettes that really excite me. I do not dupe all the palettes coming out in the market. It's only the palettes that really excite me and I do not want to buy because I already have those shades in my collection. So I just want to make that very sure. I didn't bother to dupe these palettes just because it didn't excite me. So yeah, that's how it rolls. So let's move on to some indie makeup. Because I recently tried the JD Glow eyeshadows and I was like blown away by the quality, I really want to try some indie makeup. Now the first indie makeup palette that I see is from Glamlight, and this is their collaboration with Michaela, she's like super well known in the TikTok family and even on Instagram, I would say. I was there for the launch of this product. I was right there in their website. I took this palette, I gave this palette like 2-3 times, like a double take look. It's super colorful. The first 2 rows are pretty neutral, warm tone, shades, but the rest of the palettes is super colorful. I cannot justify paying $42 for such a colorful palette when I do not wear that much colors. Talking of colors, yes, I am wearing color on my eyes, but again, it's like more of like neutral orangey tones, I would say. And this was duping the Artist Couture palette, so that's why I'm wearing this eyeshadow. But yes, and the palette sold out too. So now it's only for pre-order. And it's slowly but surely like taking my interest off of that palette. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. I mean, if the palette doesn't keep me interested even after a week, then I don't feel like drawn towards that palette, I would say. The next palette that I want to talk about is Break the Rules. And this is from Mel Cosmetics. Now this palette really is super interesting. Now this palette is all shimmers. It's like more of like that multi-chrome, duochrome shades. I already ordered this palette. I couldn't wait. This palette seemed very close to the Adept Cosmetics, which is like super expensive, but this was like more of a affordable palette, but an indie brand. But the swatches seemed so beautiful. So yeah, I ordered mine on a pre-order, so it's going to take a while before it reaches out to me, but I'm very excited to try that out. Yeah, super excited about it. The shadows, the shades seems super nice. Very excited. The next palette that's coming in the market is from Sydney Grace, and this is the last palette I think I have to talk about. And this is they have the collaboration coming with Temptalia. Now Temptalia is known in the beauty industry. She's been there, I think I've been following her for a decade now. She's well known in the beauty industry. She has a blog where she writes everything about the new makeup releases that's coming in the market, and she has swatches for everything. So she's coming out with 3 palettes, but in light version as well as deep version, and that's how Sydney Grace does. Now the only palette that I own from Sydney Grace is the Tiny Marvels palette, and I absolutely love their formula. But The three palettes that they are coming out with Temptalia seems very, very close to each other in the terms of color story. I mean, at least in the promo photo, the photo that they are showing all the three palettes seems very close. I mean, it's not intriguing me a lot, I would say, but out of the three palettes, I think the Radiant Reflection palette in the deep version is the most interesting one, and this palette retails at $40. So I'll see how I feel. It's pretty new in my mind. So I'll see how it feels towards the end of the week, towards after a week, how I feel about it. And if it still like captures my attention, I might go for it because I know the quality of Sydney Grace is really good. But again, the question for me would be like, yeah, it is a super colorful palette. So am I gonna wear this often or not? When I see this palette, I see a lot of like At For A Sight Raw Beauty Christie palette on the right side. And then there's a bunch of pinky purpley tones, which I already have on the left side. So I'm like, yeah, I can actually talk myself out of it. I know it pretty well. But yes, I'm double taking all these things just because I have some palettes that I have really not even like tested it out, and they're still new in my collection. Like I have my iconic London palette, which I have hardly tested out like once. I still have my Colourpop 5-pan palette, which I've not even like taken out from the packaging. I have my MAC Cosmetics palette. I really want to play with this Sigma Warm Neutrals palette. There are so many palettes that are still in my collection that I've not played with. And I'm very, very interested in like playing with it before I just like hoard on the palettes. So that's how I feel about these recent releases. Let me know if you guys have a palette that's calling out to you and it's like interesting you so much that you want me to review it for you guys. If that's the case, leave it down in the comment section below. I'll be happy to pick it out for you guys and review it for you guys. But yes, that's all for today. If you guys like this video, please do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 times a week, every single week. But until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!